Hello everyone and welcome to Crankworx Whistler. It's hot, it's sunny, it's pretty bright. Let me get these off. Now, I had a few fizzy drinks last night. I don't feel that great. I think maybe it had too much sugar in. But we're here at the downhill practice on the first weekend of Crankworx to find out a little bit about these pros bikes, maybe wind them up a bit and hopefully downright take the piss. Who's the greatest male downhill rider of all time?
For me, it would have to be, just because he's a good dude and everything, Steve Peat.
Steve Peat?
Yeah.
The greatest female?
Rachel Atherton.
Rachel Atherton. And who do you think is going to win world champs in male this year? When you're going to back yourself, you'll be there, no?
Yeah, it's my year. I always feel good at Foot William, but anyone else, I'd say Loic Bruni.
Loic Bruni. And in the female category?
Rachel.
Rachel. Nice. So let's talk about your bike itself. We're talking about, Crestline doubling up the Cascade. They've had enough time about fixing other people's bikes. They thought they'd help make something from the ground up. How long have you been on the bike?
Yeah, so I've been on the Crestline now for, since our summer in New Zealand. So I'd say 6 months now.
And from the Norco before, were you keen to stick with the high pivot?
So that's why this one was kind of a more like happy medium.
Yes.
So it's not like a high pivot, it's a
like
mid
medium
pivot. So you get like the things that you want out of a high pivot, but then you don't have the problem of like it growing too much. So yeah, that was kind of my scares of like first riding the bike, but then when my first day on the bike, when I first hit a turn, I was like, okay, I've made a right decision.
Yeah, so fair, man.
Yeah.
And what's your favourite thing about this Crestline bike, or something that surprised you in a way that you didn't expect?
Basically just how it rides, like how it holds speed. Like in the turns, that was the biggest thing from obviously riding a Norco. Like I struggled with turning.
Yeah.
I felt like I lost my turning in the but then riding this bike, just like felt like I could rip turns again, and it could feel like I was like on flat pedals again. Like I could actually like ride properly again, like as I wanted to.
Yeah. And
not struggle so much. But
yeah, nice, man. And is this you're going to be a world champs bike?
Yeah. This is why I brought the Silva over. It'll have some more stuff on it, like decals and stuff probably, but yeah, I kind of like silver and black. It's kind of New Zealand colour.
Dude,
so.
New Zealand colours. Imagine being Australian and you've got to get like some green in with some gold, and it always looks a bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But silver and black, you're done.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks for your time, man.
No, sweet as, all good. Thank you.
So, some quick fire questions, Vali Hoell. Who's the greatest male downhill racer of all time?
Male? Ooh. Well, that was a quick one. Probably Steve Peat.
Steve Peat?
Yeah.
He's like the people's favourite.
Yeah, he's like the most friendliest guy on the planet.
And who do you think the greatest female downhill racer is of all time?
I feel like it's Rachel Atherton.
Rachel Atherton.
Yeah.
40 wins.
40 wins, coming back after giving birth, kicking our ass. She's my role model, so it has to be Rachel.
So let's talk about the bike itself. What is one thing about your session that makes it specifically yours, unlike any other? Is there anything you do particular?
I guess the paint job.
Apart from the paint, is there any setup thing that you do different to everyone else, would you say?
Well, we got all the brand new RockShox Boxer in the front. It's sick because now we are finally allowed to talk about it. It's really nice. So much better for the hands. I got some brand new Ergon prototype grips. They're also out now. And
would you say you set up your bike for like comfort or kind of a bit more platform when you're really pushing?
It's quite hard, my setup, I would say. Because every time I ride it at home, I'm like, oh my god, this is not fun when you're like cruising around because it's way too hard and not soft. But yeah, just in racing I go so much faster than when I go riding with my friends. And do you change your setup much, or do you just say this is it and you just gotta ride it? No, I'm trying to not touch any knobs, otherwise Matt is gonna be pissed and I don't know where to turn it.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
So, Mick, Hannah, quick fire questions. In your mind, who's the greatest male downhill rider of all time?
Oh, that's a tough question, but I'd have to say Greg Minnaar.
Greg Minnaar.
Yeah.
And who do you think the greatest female downhill racer is of all time?
It's got to be Rachel. Yeah.
40
She's
wins
just
as well.
so impressive. Yeah.
So let's talk about your bike. Now, after riding some polygons that look like e-bikes, some Yetis that were actually e-bikes, you want a more of a conventional in its own weird way, but this is a super sleek bike. It looks a bit more like the finished article compared to Richie's we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Is this your first time riding one of the kind of medium to high pivots?
Yeah, this is the first frame, I got on this a few months ago, like early on. I spent a few days on it, kind of getting a rough setup.
And would you ever be tempted to come and race some World Cup downhills again?
Every day.
Yeah, why not?
Of course I'm tempted. I
Come
love
on.
it. It's like, I've been my
One more
passion
song.
for
One more song.
Yeah.
And in terms of your bikes, what would be one thing that makes this absolutely yours? Is there anything you say you do set up, even in maybe your cockpit or dimensions, that you do different to other people on the team, or maybe a lot of other riders?
I actually don't think I have anything super specific. I find that I haven't never really got stuck on like, this is how I need to have it. I need my brake levers at 19.5 mils from the grip, or like I don't get that specific. And which I think has allowed for me to be able to try and test different things in the development process really well.
One last question. Mud tire on the front. Is that something, what's the threshold of dust that you need? Or is it just coming from Australia, anything that isn't like completely blown out feels like fresh, soft, dirty loam?
Well, this track is fresh, soft, dirty loam up here. It's beautiful. It's really good, deep, thick loam. So I just love it. The tire options I had this week, the other tire was a little bit too small a volume, and this mud tire is like, it's quite more of an intermediate, like it's not a fully aggressive mud tire feeling. So that works really well in this, especially on a track that is quite steep and you don't have to worry about rolling resistance.
Mega, well thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, cheers.
Eliot, who is the greatest male downhill racer of all time?
Greg Menard.
Greatest female?
It's got to be Rachel. Yeah.
Let's talk about your bike.
Okay.
Now, you're a naughty boy and you forgot your pedals.
I did. I forgot so much stuff. And so I got stuck at the border for like 4 or 5 hours. Forgot my pedals, forgot my helmet and everything. So the real pedals that you want to be using, the best pedals of all time, are Crank Brothers, the mallets.
Sponsor's dream. Sponsor's dream.
The
do
mallets.
what I say, not as I do, eh?
Or the Crank Brothers shoes are also really nice. The flat shoes. So
You upgraded, well, you like sideways graded from the slippers to now like pseudo slippers.
Well, yeah, they do it. They have a nice slip on.
So let's talk about this bike. V10.
Yep.
It looks very nice.
Yep.
It looks very...
I think it's one of the Syndicate bikes. I pretty much run everything Syndicate spec.
Oh, nice.
Out of convenience, but also because I figure if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good thing. You've come a long way from doing a rim of run when you were throwing those bikes my way when I was working in the shop. Build us another wheel, Henry.
We had some rough times.
Rapido.
You just wait till the rim hits the rear triangle, and then I would bring it in.
That's the sweet spot, man.
So
what's your favorite thing about this V10? Is it running it with the clutch off to make it extra smooth?
So a lot of people run the O chain, but you can also run no clutch, or you can just forget to put it on. And you notice if you're a mechanic like Henry.
And what's something, you've ridden, I suppose before this you were on Giants?
Yep.
Yep. What's kind of one thing you noticed going from that glory to the V10? Was there anything in particular?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, just the linkage, like the way the percussion feels. Like we used to run air shocks on Giant because it was a pretty linear bike. With this one, can like run the coil, and it's just really nice. I mean, to be able to run like a coil, like really soft off the top, and then I don't have to run it like super high spring rate or anything like that to get that feeling. And it's pretty cushiony now. I'm kind of like that, not so much a stiff bike guy now. I'm like a normal guy running the softest bike I can think of.
Are we just getting really old? Because my bike's like a waterbed and it feels fantastic.
I always used to think about that, like when you would see people in lift line, you'd like get on their bikes and you'd be like, why? And now I'm like, I know why.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me off camera how you get on the hand-me-downs list from Santa Cruz.
Yep.
And we'll go from there. Thank you very much for your time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Henry.
So we're here with Asa now. Asa, we're going to start with some quick fire questions. Who do you think is going to win world champs in the male category?
Lewick Bruni again.
And who do you think in the female category?
Probably Vali Hoell.
Vali Hoell. Sweet. So this is your Frameworks bike.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's got lots of interesting bits going on.
Yeah.
This morning you were kicking about without a chain on after losing it on the first one during practice. Was that just a throw down to the pro field since you gave me such a good spanking last time?
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't mean to. I just snapped it out of the gate, but.
And you just got to get some runs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So with this bike here, it's obviously this Frameworks project, which is not necessarily. It's kind of like a garage project. It's like small. You're able to make the exact bikes you want.
Yeah.
And it's really, really transparent. What about this bike is different to, say, Nico's bike?
We run all the same stuff. I just run different wheels. I run NV wheels, and I have my reach a little bit shorter than Nico.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
And it's got that carbon rear end.
Yep.
It kind of looks silver front, carbon back. Kind of looks a bit hodgepodge at the moment. Do you care what your bike looks like, or do you just want the fastest?
No, I don't really care at all. I just love how it feels.
Yeah, totally good.
I'd like the ride performance better than the look.
And so you won nationals in the enduro in America last week.
Yep.
Riding the enduro bike.
Yep.
How was that winning it? Because you're what, 15, 16?
16.
How was that? Just explain. Could you describe your weekend?
I honestly couldn't believe it. I was having like a good race weekend, just like keeping my runs chill, staying on the bike. But the bike is amazing. The enduro bike, it's like exactly like the downhill.
And are you going to be taking some scalps in the elite field this weekend, do you think?
Well, I'm gonna try. I have to go around all the jumps, but other than that, I'll just try.
For the juniors, you have to go around the jump?
Yeah.
No way?
Yeah.
Oh shit, can I race junior category? Because I reckon I could get through the course then, eh? Amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time. Best
Thank
luck
you.
this weekend. So, Dante, some quick fire questions. Who is the greatest male downhill racer of all time?
Whoa, that's a big statement. I would probably say Sam Hill
Hill.
or Greg. The thing with Greg is that he's been able to hold it over for the past
Forever.
20 years, you know?
And who do you think's the greatest female downhill racer of all time?
I would say Rachel Atherton for
She-
sure. Yeah.
40 World Cup
She's
winner.
just dominating.
So let's talk about your bike specifically.
Yeah.
What is going on with this?
So this is the Canyon's patented KISS,
Yeah.
which is keep it stable. It's just a steering stabilizer used with springs to kind of just help the bars go back to center. I feel like there's definitely some pros and cons to it, but I think it overall does help. I think it helps it keep a better front end to rear end connection,
Yes.
if that makes any sense.
Yes.
And in the rougher sections, it keeps it straighter.
It can. Do you know what it's amazing for? It's amazing for climbing.
Is it really?
Honestly, if you're an e-bike,
Yeah.
without f***ing clue what you were doing, going up a hill in Switzerland,
Yeah.
that thing, because it's like a stabilizer on your front
Right,
wheel.
yeah, so you don't have all those
Yeah.
kind of corrections on the
Yeah,
hill.
it's really
yeah.
quite amazing. Sweet. I mean, it's a beautiful bike. This is maybe once that gets integrated into the frame,
yeah.
it might look a little bit sharper. It looks a bit like.
It looks pretty prototype right now.
It looks pretty
good.
prototype. It looks like some part from a food process at my grandma's kitchen. You just whacked in the top tube. But no, the bike looks mega.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, man.
So, Matt, some quick fire questions.
Yep.
Who's the greatest male downhill racer of all time?
Got to be Steve Pete, I reckon.
Steve Pete?
Steve Pete.
The
He's
old
my
man
favourite
himself?
on and off the bike, you know. He puts it, like, you could tell, you watched all the old stuff, he's just like, I don't know, embracing all aspects of mountain biking. From like the pit parties, the jibbing, the
Yeah.
racing, the slalom, the four cross, everything.
He loves it.
Yeah, so
And who do
Steve
you
Pete.
think the greatest female downhill racer is?
You can't beat Rachel Atherton, really,
40
can
wins.
you? I mean, it's crazy.
fucking wild.
It's crazy. And just to like put it on the back burner for a while, then come back and still win.
Yeah.
You're like, man, she's just like in a world of her own.
Imagine if that was your mum though.
Yeah,
Like
it's
this
crazy.
mum's just off winning World Cup. Mega. Now let's talk about the bike itself. So Pivot's got some pretty cool junior riders this year.
Yeah, it's
One
a
of
good
them
squad.
one of them was rocking around on the fancy carbon lugged bike.
Yeah.
Could you not pull some weight as a World Cup winner now and say, get off that thing and give it to me?
I wish. I rode that thing in Queenstown this summer and it was insane. It was just like magic carpet feel, but I don't know, I'm happy on this bike. Like, it's what we've run for the last few years. It's what I know.
What's the favourite thing, you know, you've spent a lot of time on enduro bike, coming back to the Phoenix, what's something you love about this bike that...
Just the traction, like, you start braking and it actually slows down. I know, like, no enduro bike's ever going to compete with a downhill bike on a downhill track, or like, just with the traction, the comfort, just the amount of stuff you can just run over, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that just is dreamy coming back onto one of these after riding an enduro bike, but keeps you on your toes.
So, riding this course here, pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
What are you more kind of on the edge of fear with? Thrashing through stage 6 of EWS when you're, you know, sweating vinegar at your eyeballs, or something like that?
That's it. Apples and oranges, really.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I kind of prefer the long days of enduro when you get into it rather than just like a one and done lap. I'd say I probably get more sketchy on enduro than I do at a downhill because I almost know the track too well. So like, you know, oh, this bit's sketchy, I better slow down. Whereas in enduro, you're just sort of freestyling it and you ride some stuff that you really shouldn't ride at that pace. But I don't know, I'm definitely enjoying being back on the downhill bike and just like trying to focus on riding lines, and I don't know, it's just a good change of pace, isn't it?
Mega. Well, thanks for your time, man.
No worries.